Welcome to Wealthing Talks. I am your host, Alicia Castillo Holley, bringing you real-life conversations from Silicon Valley or somewhere around the world. We will talk about disruptors, angel investments, venture capital, and of course, family offices. Join me along with my children, their families, friends, disruptors, and investors as we explore the fascinating world of creating wealth in a completely different and authentic way. Hello, everyone. It's such a delight to host Naava Mashiah. Do I pronounce your name right?
You did, Alicia.
Okay, good. I'm better at that. Yeah. I met her recently in Geneva, an incredible connection. And Naava, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you for hosting me, Alicia. It's great to see you again.
Yes. Okay. Let's start with the great question. How did you get to be here, to be doing what you're doing now, and then tell us what you're doing. But first, how was the journey?
There was a pivot. I I remember the pivot exactly. You remember in 2015 when all the refugees were coming from Syria to Europe and Afghanistan? Do you remember that wave of refugees? And one day there was a picture of a little boy with his face down in the beach in Turkey, which hit all the news. And many people died before, maybe people died after, but that picture somehow resonated with me. And I went to UNHCR here in Geneva. I just joined YPO, which is a CEO organization, and I started raising funds for UNHCR because of this little boy. I said, "This, I can do something. I'm in YPO. I'm a member. I just joined." I said, "How can I use my tools at my hand to help this not happen again?" And so this is what I did. That was my first aha moment, that I have influence, that I have a power, that I can get out of my chair and do something in order to avert this other children coming over and having the same end. And that's how it started. And now I'm doing impact investing, but it's a long journey since that point. But that was the first one.
And so tell us about what are you doing right now? And you're in Geneva, so a lot of people are from Silicon Valley, a lot of people that listen to us, but you're in Geneva. So tell us, what is it that you're doing right now?
So right now I'm working with family offices and ultra high net wealth individuals, which I have been doing for many years. But right now I'm using my influence to mobilize private capital towards impact investing, towards emerging market, because after a trip to Africa, I realized that this is where the true impact is. It's not about SpaceX. It's not about Klarna and secondary. It's about getting the capital to these people that are amazing, and the high potential in Africa is amazing. And I think the only way to see that is by traveling there and taking delegations there. Such Patrick Odier is doing that. He's the chairman of Lombard Odier, one of the largest private banks here, and he's taking delegations of asset managers so they can see and experience what I experienced 2 years ago.
Wow. And did you always thought that you would be doing this?
Not at all. I mean, even a few years ago, if you had said emerging markets, I said, no, hands off, no way. You know, impact investing for me was new protein, ag tech, technology. I even have a high-tech fund in Israel with Uri Levine, but emerging markets, hands off. And it changed. It changed because of this trip. It changed because I saw the potential of the people. And if you look at the demography and the statistics of Africa, it's quite impressive. And they're leapfrogging technologies and they're creating companies. And um, I don't know if I told you this, but building bridges, where I attended last week, one of the last sessions is after we met, and I met Roland Decourvey, who's the former CEO of Nestle, and he's an
Mm.
investor in DRC, which is frontier Africa. It's even
Wow, yeah.
not Kenya, it's DRC.
Okay.
And why is he doing that? And how is he raising capital from Swiss family offices? He's saying to them, if we don't do this, they're going to be at your doorstep because you need to create jobs for these people. They don't want to be refugees, do not want to be refugees.
Yes.
They want to stay where they are. They just want to live a good life. And
Yeah.
so he's investing in DRC, creating jobs so people can have dignity and live a good life, and creating infrastructure so that the country prospers.
That's really beautiful because I grew up in Venezuela, in Latin America, and after moving around and living in several countries, I ended up living in Chile. And in Chile, I did the first Center for Entrepreneurship because I realized that entrepreneurship is a way to prosper rapidly. And then 2 years later, I did the first Seed Capital Fund. So I have experienced firsthand the impact that entrepreneurial behavior and rules around supporting entrepreneurial behavior and capital to support progress has on the economy, but also, like you said, people don't want to leave their country. People love their countries in general. So I think that's a great thought. And a lot of people don't do much with Africa because they don't know about Africa. How do you think we can build that bridge?
From my experience, it's going there. It's really taking delegations of a leader. Like here, Patrick Odi is very respected, but in America, it could be a leader. I don't know. I mean, you're better acquainted and familiar with the potential leaders, but it's actually going and visiting and seeing the potential of the people. And it's so impressive. I was in Kigali, Rwanda with a Global Impact Summit with a YPO event. So maybe through YPO, YPO leader there that cares about impact can lead a delegation. And and the word does get out.
Yes.
And there's a feeling, the FOMO, the fear of missing out. The word does get out. And it's so impressive when you see these people. And they were born by luck or by charm there. Like you were born in Israel, I was born in Israel. Everybody has their luck. They didn't choose to be born there. I didn't choose to be born in Israel, but that's our fact. And if they were born in a different place, perhaps they would have different education and different progress and different luck. And I think that we can't ignore the fact that there's an immense potential there of young people. The demography is very young, and they're leapfrogging technology. They didn't go from telephones to mobile phones. They leaped straight to mobile phones. They
Yes.
are digital. They have e-bikes. It's just when you see that, when you go there and you see the entrepreneurial, even I know at Alicia, we went to a village. We went to visit a client of B-Box. B-Box is a solar powered off-grid battery, which provides electricity to this farmer, female farmer with 3 children. And when we walked to her house, it was raining and it was muddy. And on the way back, the young kids in the village provided us mats and cardboard so we didn't have to walk in them. That's entrepreneurial. That
Yeah.
nobody told them to do that. And so these are young entrepreneurs. And it was just impressive to see this throughout my trip there.
Oh, that's wonderful. I am an investor in two African companies. One is called Angasa, and they provide electrical powers, sort of solar electricity systems to throughout Africa. Actually, they're all over the world, but what they do is they finance it in
Mm.
cents per week, and they're very interesting. And the other one is Aruba Capital, which is a VC out of Nigeria, led by a woman as well. And it's very interesting because impact capital is not about PD and donations. It's about putting capital to transform societies, which is something that I love. That's why I do venture capital. So I'm very happy that I'm not the only one. You can see that it works.
Alicia, and there's also a higher yield. I mean, people are surprised to hear that there's a higher yield. And there's one group here in Geneva, it's called Seed Stars, and they invest in urban Africa, not rural Africa, where I like to find
Mhm.
the opportunities. They're in urban, and they make 20% return on investment for their investors continuously for 20 years. So it's happening, and you don't have to have concessional yields. You get a very high yield on return on investment.
Yeah, you can do good and do well at the same time.
Right. And why not? Why, if I was an ultra high net wealth, the next generation is really getting into it because they have, first of all, they're more aware of what's going on in the world, and they have a longer time to be here on the globe, longer than we do. And so they want to take care of that. They have a globe that's nicer to live in. And so the next generation, they may have a smaller pool of capital, but they are mobilizing it to these opportunities. So the next generation family offices are amazing.
I think they're amazing. I think the next generations are absolutely outstanding. So yeah. Well, I
And
know that because I have my kids too. So I have my small family office with my kids and my grandkids, and we talk about how do we use the money that we have for progress. And it's not out of pity and out of donations only. I mean, donations have a space, but we can't do that. And I find that some people, they want to pay back, and they have that entrepreneurial spirit that is, I think that's very fascinating. Um, If you were to tell yourself, your younger self, something that you didn't know, what if you were to write a note to yourself 20 years ago? What would you tell yourself? What is the lesson that you have learned that you didn't know?
I would say when you have a question in your mind, ask it out loud. When
Mm-hmm.
you have, if you're sitting in an audience and you have a question and you're afraid to raise your hand, like ask it, because usually the next person asks the same question and they're helping everyone. So ask that question and you're not going to sound stupid. Don't apologize and don't ever say, I'm sorry if I asked, don't apologize. Ask that question. If something doesn't feel right to you, if there's a doubt, there's a doubt. We have a saying in French, if there's a doubt, there's a doubt. So if you have a doubt about a job, about a relationship, about a country, you want to leave, don't wait, like leave. That's something that I would say to myself as a younger Naava. Um, and also, if you have something original to share, because sometimes we regurgitate other people's thoughts and we rewrite them and we repost them. If you have something original to say it, post it, and don't be afraid because it could inspire many others.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah. I did. I always learn so much when I ask this question because there's this golden nugget of wisdom that we miss, and I love that because absolutely we tend to repeat what we find, but we don't. We have so much light and wisdom inside of us. Yeah, and that would be so useful. And if you were to write, now let's go backward. Let's go the other towards the future. If you were to write yourself a letter to your 20 years older self, what do you think you would write?
20 years ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've been thinking about Jane Goodall a lot. Jane was a friend, and she just passed away last week. And she was a person that I knew. I didn't know very long, but I was honored to meet her, and we would write to each other because she would travel 300 days of the year, trying. She had this mission to wake up people and to wake up their awareness of how we need to take care of our planet. And I don't mean to be a Jane Goodall, but if I can be like to the ankle of a Jane Goodall, and I think what she did was keep her sense of humor throughout. She had a wicked sense of humor.
Uh-huh.
And she would always end the night with a little whiskey. I don't know if you know, she was 91 when she passed away, and she always had a little whiskey. So if I could have the praise that was outpouring for her around the world, because she just kept consistent with her goal, her mission
Mhm.
until the end. And she was here in Geneva. She was raising $90 million for the 90 years she was alive. And I don't know if she reached it, but she knew that time was short, right? And so we know also our time is not
Yeah,
finite.
yeah.
We know that it's not infinite, it's finite. So if I was to write to 20 years back, I think I'm on the right track. I think I'm doing the right thing. I think if each year that I get older, I can't wait to get older. Do you know? I can't wait to be 60. I can't wait to be 64. I can't wait to be older. And with the right goals that I'm pursuing now, I think I'll get there. I think, I'm not going to be a Jane Goodall, but the fact that we were friends was enough for me.
Well, you're going to be yourself, and you don't know what you can do, and nobody does, actually. Yeah.
We don't know what's ahead. Yeah.
So what is the present right now? What do you want to do? How can people connect with you? How can people help you? What is the fire right now in
So the next
2025?
is Thanks, Alicia. This is a great question because I'm very excited because I'm finally in this nexus where I do have the deal flow from Africa, and I do have the family offices here and the Impact First family offices. But anybody else that wants to join this voyage of putting the capital in the right place and also getting a return and also improving the world, anybody else that wants to join, welcome. We don't have enough, if I don't know enough family offices in North America, and this is where you're based. So anybody that wants to join us, please. We're in one boat. This is our problem. What's happening is it's all, and I grew up in LA, so I know that sometimes you feel it's over there, it's far away, it's not my problem, but it is all our problem, and we're all in one boat, we're all one family. So we do need to mobilize capital from all the continents to help to build a more equitable world.
Is there any particular project that opens up new opportunities that you find interesting, or
Yes,
any?
Africa is a farmer. They're 90%, 70%, I think 80% farmers. So the small holder farmers. And so if you want to help Africa, you have to help with the farmers. So we have one, it's a project called The Flow, which is optimizing the whole farmer from end to end, from the farmer to the offtake agreements to the insurance and even the climate insurance. They're protected and everything is digital. So there's no cash. So everything is de-risked. And they have a track record in India, which is a very successful track record with an 8 to 10% return for investors, which is nice.
Good. Mhm.
It's nice. It's more than the banks in Switzerland, which is zero.
Well,
Uh,
here's like two or three, but you put your money to
right.
make a huge difference. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It makes a huge difference for the farmers and the yield, and everything is really de-risked. So this is one project which I'm really happy about and people are getting excited about. Another project is Project Magi. Magi in Swahili means water. And this is sustainable access to clean water for 400,000 people in Africa. And we want to take it Pan-African. It's right now in 3 sub-Saharan countries, and we want to take it Pan-African. And the way we do that is we don't lean on donations. Donations are drying up. So USAID is gone, right? As you know. So we have to think of more creative ways to get this capital in order to help these folks. Another project is in Panama. It's generational forests. I'm going to Panama in the end of the month, which I'm very excited about. And I'll have more details for you after my trip. But it's really exciting. And a lot of the family offices, the larger legacy investors that don't need return right away, are very interested in this, including LGT.
I have some good contacts for you in Panama.
Okay, great. I'm
Actually,
looking
I
at
have
it.
some good contacts at Flow. We have Act Tools, is one of our portfolio companies that allows farmers to understand the sales part and where to sell and what is the bottleneck between the farm and the consumer. I did have a farm and I did lose money on the farm. My parents had a farm too and we lost it, but we lost it for political reasons. And I'm really taken about agriculture. So I really like that. So I have some good contacts for you there and in
Thank
Panama
you.
as well. And this is a proof that we're all connected. Think about it. So we met. I'm Venezuelan living in the US. You are Israeli, or I was born in Venezuela, living in the US. You were born in Israel, living in Geneva. We met because of an Indian person.
Yes,
So this is just the connection that we have in the world. And we're more similar than we're different.
of course.
And I think this is a beautiful thing. And we don't need to be putting boundaries and building walls. We need to build bridges. And
And we also have to say yes when people introduce us. We have to say yes. I looked, do I have time? It's building bridges. And I said yes, because Danish, our Indian friend, and anything that comes from him is blessed. So I said, and we had a wonderful, wonderful time in Geneva
yeah,
together.
yeah, yeah. That was that. But you have to say yes too. That is also true. But there's
So
some people that just connect because they have different I don't know, energy or flow. I don't know. Uh, I,
You have to take a chance. You have to just jump into the deep water sometimes.
yeah, that is true. That is true. Uh, so I want to continue in this journey about a very deep question that I ask people. When I was, and I'm going to put the context around it. When I was 13, I fell off a horse and I was in coma. So I saw myself dying there. I saw myself dead, and
Mm.
I thought, oh my gosh, what a pity. I died. The first thing that came to my mind is I never had a boyfriend. Shoot. I, I never kissed anybody. I was like, I grew up Venezuela was very conservative at the time. But I woke up and I'm alive. And every single day that I wake up, I'm very grateful to have another day to live. But I always think that there is going to be a time where I'm not here.
Mm.
And and then I reflect upon that often. I had the fortune of doing that when I was 18, when I was 12 or 13, but not a lot of people have that fortune. We were just talking about one of those aha moments for you when you also were a young woman or girl. But my question now to you is, it's more of the essence. It, some people call it soul, some people call it spirit. Um, my question is, have you thought about who is Naava when Naava is no longer here?
Well, Alicia, I usually don't share this and not on a podcast, but I also had a near-death experience. I don't think we talked about this. So we have a lot in common. And I was 8 years old and we had just moved to America. It was on the Ventura Freeway. And it was a big accident. I didn't even know English at the time. I was 8. And it was Friday the 13th, August, 1976.
Oh
Friday
my
the 13th.
gosh, you remember that to the day. Wow.
Yeah. Uh, and it was a big deal because they took me in a helicopter. And I remember waking up on the freeway and I remember, touching the arm, knowing it's my arm, but it's heavy, it's like connected. And I was 6 weeks in the hospital, but I remember the flight in the helicopter that the women was very impressed by the view. And I was dying in the helicopter. She was impressed by the view, and I didn't know English, but I understood that she was really impressed by what she's saying. And it was, you have a near-death experience. You see yourself as you saw yourself in and out, and 8 operations. I don't like to talk about it, but it did give me a very low fear of the threshold of fear is very low. The threshold of fear. That's why I cross continents and I cross as an Israeli woman to the Arab countries. And I'm not afraid of death because when you go through that experience, you said, okay, well, the worst is that you cross, it's not so bad. But the time that you've spent here, you want to spend it right. And you're aware of your power, you're aware of the team members that are around you, and you're aware that you can't do it alone. It's not something you can do alone. So it's interesting that we both had this little near-death experience, and it's like the best thing that happened to us, right? Because if we didn't, it was the bbest thing. It wasn't easy to go through that. It wasn't easy to go through the operations and being in a hospital and an IV. It's not fun as an 8-year-old kid, but in retrospective, it's the best thing that happened to me in my life because it gave me this power and this vision and this connectivity with people like you, Alicia.
Wow, that's so interesting. I wouldn't recommend to try to get there on purpose.
No. No, no,
But,
no.
yeah, it's very funny. I remember teaching a class to Japanese, and we had to have an interpreter. And I always wrap up my class with the phrase that um, the only thing you have to do, the only thing you have to do is die. And I remember the translator, she was translating every phrase that I said, and then she stops halfway, and she said, "No, no, I can't say that." And I said, "Yes, go ahead." And she said, "No, no, you don't understand. We're Japanese. Our culture." She started, and I said, "Well, the only thing we have to do is die. Everything else we do because we want to. And
Mm.
that gives us the freedom to live life in a different way."
Beautiful.
But I think some people go through these very dramatic experiences and they don't have the tools to use it to uplift themselves.
Right.
We are very fortunate, you and I are very fortunate to have experienced that. And of all my guests, you're the first one that has said that. I think it was a blessing in disguise.
Right.
And yeah, and I reflect
I,
how lucky I am.
I think it doesn't have to be that extreme. I think everybody that goes through something difficult in their life, there's a silver lining that you're going to get power, you're going to learn something. Everybody going through a divorce, there's always beauty after. There's always people that come out and help you. So you don't have to go to that extreme and almost die.
Yeah.
But there's always a trauma that people are experiencing, and there's just wait till you get the lessons, wait till you get the gems, that golden nuggets afterwards, and it will be almost worth it to go through that ugly
Yeah.
tunnel. Yeah. But when my father passed away 5 years ago, there was a Bhutani friend who said to me something beautiful, and he said, it really helped me. He says, death is as natural as birth. So simple. Death is as natural as birth. And it sort of helped me deal with the fact that dad isn't here anymore. And just as we came, we go. It's a
Yeah.
cycle.
Yeah. Were you very close to your dad?
I was, yeah, I was. And this is his dad. This is his father. He's a Jewish Iraqi man. And they had to leave Iraq in 1951 to go to Israel. So,
Wow.
yeah.
I was very close to my dad. My dad was born in Trinidad. His family had to migrate, and then he migrated himself, and then I migrated. So, well, we'll keep
We're
going.
nomads.
But we'll keep going. I have a lot of wings. I don't have a lot of roots, but I have a lot of wings. Yes. Nava, any last words for our audience? This has been a complete delight.
I've enjoyed it too. You're a dear friend, Alicia, and I know we'll be in touch for a long time. Any words for the audience is stop and remember that you're fortunate, be grateful for what you have, and tomorrow morning start a good chain of reaction. Here in Switzerland, we stop for everything. We stop if there's a cow, we stop if somebody's crossing the road, we stop like 2 meters away. And it's a good chain of reaction because then somebody will stop for you when you're a pedestrian. So start a good chain. I'd sometimes pay for people's coffee and
Oh,
leave, and then they'll never see me again, right? But just start a good change of reaction, and then it continues. It's like how do you say that? Butterfly effect.
yes. Yes.
And it's exponential. So if everybody does that tomorrow, we'll have a better world the next week. And so just think of others, and it also makes you feel good as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Alicia. I hope to see you soon.
You will. So thank you so much for being here and listening to Nava. It's very interesting how the trajectory of the life moves us from one place to another. She's very well connected in Geneva with a lot of people that want to use their money to make an impact in the world, uh, not by donating, but also by investing. And the flip side of that is that as an entrepreneur, like when I was an entrepreneur, I didn't want people to donate money to me. I wanted to have the privilege and the respect of earning my capital and of providing some return to the investors because it was a matter of pride. And I think that is something that most of the population needs. I work with Aboriginals in Australia and poor people here, even people who have money, even people that come from wealthy backgrounds. Uh, Entrepreneurs want to be able to respect money and want to be able to return capital to their investments. I really enjoyed this conversation. I hope you enjoyed too. And thank you so much for listening. I'll see you in the next episode. Yours in Wealthing, Alicia Castillo Holley. Bye-bye. Thanks for tuning in to our Wealthing Talks. I hope you've enjoyed this conversation. To stay connected, visit us at wealthing.com. This is Alicia Castillo Holley, your host, and until next time, yours in Wealthing.